All right, hey everybody, how you doing? This is the West Uptown podcast. I'm Johnny Kane, West Uptown resident. And for those who do not know about West Uptown, this is going to be the area that is bordered on the north by Cedar Springs, bordered on the south by Maple, on the east by Oak Lawn, and on the west by Whitecliff. Very diverse area, and as you proceed towards and beyond Cedar Springs, you have a very high concentration of the LGBT community. Now, I myself am not a member of said community, but listen, I really personally don't care what you do with your crotch, and I support everyone's right to pursue happiness. That being said, what we like to do here on the podcast, okay, besides listen to the Isley Brothers from time to time, is think globally, but act locally. So one of the first things that I want to bring up in West Uptown, and there's a few. Most of us, or a lot of us, shop at the Kroger on Cedar Springs. Now, there's one back down here on Maple that is also a viable option, but a lot of us will utilize, we'll slide right on over one of the, Reagan, Brown, or whatever the case may be. We'll slide, or Throckmorton, slide over one of these streets, hit Cedar Springs, and stop at the Kroger there at Douglas and Cedar Springs. One of the things that I've noticed over there is that they have, like a lot of stores do, or most stores do, they have the option of the big basket, which is large, and then they have the small mini basket, right? The small mini basket is perfect for guys like me who can't commit to anything and shop for, provisions, 4 days at a time. Right? I get the small one, I put my case of beer in it, and I can fit whatever accoutrements, avocados, shrimp, steak, whatever I need around there, I can fit around there, okay? Now, what's interesting about this is that when you go to the Kroger, what they used to have is and I've been down here for a little over a year now, what they used to have was a line next to the store of the smaller baskets and the larger baskets. So you could just go access and pull from the long line of the smaller basket if that's what you wanted, or get one of the bigger ones if that's what you wanted. Well, I've noticed that they did away with the line of the smaller ones, which again was of course of importance to a guy like me who does the small basket thing because of his lack of ability to commit to something. But I noticed that nowadays, okay, they don't have the line anymore. All right, as I said, they don't have the line of the small ones anymore. So they just have the big ones. But if you look at the, receptacles, deposit areas littered throughout the parking lot of where you take your baskets back to, if you're a responsible citizen, which I am, and I do, when I'm done with the basket, I put it in the little slot. That's where you get your small baskets from. Now, I know, obviously, man, that somebody conscientiously, okay, said, hey, listen, let's not put that line of little baskets there anymore. Let's just have the big ones. They got to fend for themselves and the little ones. Okay, well, naturally, somebody like me, curious, I didn't know what was going on. So I went over and asked a nice person over there that was apparently in a management position at the Kroger. And I said, hey, what's up with, the lack of organization as it relates to the small baskets, right? And she says, well, that's a decision that came down from corporate. So wait a minute. So corporate looked at this thing and said, hey, you know what's killing us? It's the small baskets, man. If we get these guys to just use the big baskets, right? Okay. Our profits will increase exponentially. And I know that having a big basket doesn't make me want to buy more stuff. It just pisses me off more. But they've stayed with this philosophy for a while. And so apparently, all right, they've got to feel good about it. Again, a small thing, but we do like to think globally and act locally on the West Uptown podcast. Another thing, I've got to give you guys an alert for those of you who frequent that same Kroger over there, okay? Next to it is a library, obviously. It's the Dallas Library Oak Lawn Branch. Be on the lookout for a guy who's running around calling himself a war hero, saying he's been shot in the head, and out of pure largesse and the goodness of his heart, is giving away $50 Shell gas cards. And all he asks in return is enough to get himself something to eat. Now look, I had a feeling this thing was a scam from the first time that I met, Mr. War Hero. So I knew I could fade the $10 that I gave him when he gave me the card. Right? No problem. But then this guy has the nerve to complain. $10? Anyway, you'll know him when you see him. The cards are Shell cards, and they got writing on them, something to the extent of this card to be only used for gas, which kind of perpetuates this guy's whole story that the cards were given to him and other individuals at the VA who might have a predisposition towards alcohol addiction, and thus they put this governor, if you will, on the cards that stated that they could only be used for gas. Look, don't fall for it. Unless you're like me, and you know what it is right away, and you just want to give the guy $10, $20, whatever you want to give. But all I can say is this: don't run off to the ATM machine and withdraw $50 and give it to the guy. All right, because this is a net loss here. All right, because the cards don't work. They're declined. You can't even get the proverbial gas that's written on the card that says you can get. All right, so just keep your eyes open on that. Again, we're going to expand on a lot of topics on the West Uptown podcast in shows to come, and they won't all be related to living life in West Uptown, which is fantastic, by the way. I love it. I always wanted to live in Uptown. After I blew another relationship that I was in, and I was living in the suburbs in a house, I was like, that's it. I'm single. I'm going to West Uptown, and I'm glad I did it. I love it. It's very convenient, and it's a really cool area. But again, it's not without its hardships as it relates to, fake war heroes and missized shopping cart baskets. All right, so just be prepared for that. I'm Johnny Kane. It's the West Uptown podcast. I will keep you informed of all kinds of cool stuff as it relates to West Uptown, and we'll get into things on a national scope the deeper that we go into this podcast. This was just the debut. There are more like it that are better, that are coming soon, so please keep watching and enjoy. And hey, something is until it isn't, and something isn't until it is.